So, welcome. This is our monthly Connect call. And before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land and their continuing connection to our community. We pay respect to them, their culture, and their elders past and present. As many of us are watching in locations all around Australia and New Zealand, I'd like to pay our respects to the traditional owners of the countries on which we all live and work, and also recognise their continuing connection to land, waters, and community, and pay our respects to them, their culture, their elders, past, present, and future. And because I know a lot of you have come from overseas, international students, I would like to extend my respects to the lands from which you come as well. And we're all glad that you're all here together in Australia. Doors. Okay, what's next? Where's my little arrow? Here we go. So this is me. If you want to connect to me on LinkedIn, you can use that QR code. You can follow me on GitHub. I often put my study notes on there, so that's a good place if you want to study for exams to find what I've done to pass those exams. This is a reminder of what our program is. So we are here to help you certify, to help you build on Azure and to help you connect with Microsoft and with industry so that you can set yourselves up for the career that you want. This is the registration for Microsoft Student Accelerator. If you're already in, because you are here, then no need to worry about that, but you can feel free to share it with your friends. They don't need to be doing computer science or data science degrees. We welcome all, because in this day and age, everyone needs to know how to use technology. This is a reminder of what our in-person events look like. So we try to have them as often as we can in our various Microsoft offices. This quarter coming up, we will definitely have some in Perth. Sydney, I think we will go back to the reactor again because that's very cool. The reactor in Sydney is not our biggest office or our newest office, but it is a startup hub. So it's a very cool collaboration space where you find a lot of tech startup people hanging out. So yes, we will probably have our Sydney one in the reactor this quarter. Melbourne will be in our office. Yeah, I will be in Sydney, but it'll be in the reactor, not in Denison. And yeah, we'll see how we go. We have done Canberra last week, and yeah, we did Canberra last week, and that was very good and very big. So yeah. And there are other things that you can watch out for if you, oh, I'll mention that in a minute, actually. I think, Lisa, you should be able to click back through the slides. You see, if you look under them, you should be able to navigate forward or back. So you should be able to get all the addresses off there. Okay. Next, Troy Hunt is coming to Perth. So I was just going to mention that meetup.com is a really great place to find other technology meetups. No, just for you, Lisa, it's fine. We recommend the Azure Meetup group as the one that will link you most closely to Microsoft, and you'll find people who are Microsoft people there. You'll find MVPs, which are our most valued professionals, and you will find our customers there, but people who like to build on Azure. So this is the Perth Azure Meetup group, and Troy Hunt is coming to Perth. So you will, if you are in Perth, I do recommend you you sign up for that before it gets filled out. If you don't know who Troy Hunt is, that is fine if you are not in security. But if you care about security, you should know who Troy Hunt is, because he is super, super famous. He is a Microsoft regional director, which is like an MVP, but a bit more strategic. So he runs his own business, but he's super famous. He has presented, he had been called before Congress in Australia, in the UK, and in the US to explain cybersecurity things to them. Because if you had any fun watching the TikTok trials recently, you can see that Congress and Senate does not understand at all technology. But Troy Hunt is one of the experts that gets called, and he presents at conferences around the world. He's very glorious, very Australian. I do recommend signing up for that if you are in Perth. I also want to recommend the Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador Program. So that is different to what we're doing here. Student ambassadors are technology leaders. So in your university, if you are a community leader or want to be one, if you want to teach others how to build on Azure, if you want to run Microsoft events out there, I recommend you apply for this program. They only appoint them at certain points in the year, but if you're not in your final year, go for it. Make your video and your application questions very enthusiastic. This is no time to be humble and to hold back. They only pick about 30 or 40% of the people that apply. So, make it a really vibrant and exciting application, even if you don't feel vibrant and exciting. Just, fake it for the application, because it's a really good program. You'll get lots of swag, you'll get lots of extra assistance, more than you could get as a normal student, lots of extra free stuff, and it will help accelerate your career as well. And this is the Student Hub. So if you go to Microsoft Learn, or you just type from the internet, Microsoft Learn Student Hub, you will find the Student Hub. This is aimed at all of you, and it gives you access to all the best assets. I go to it all the time, even though I am not a student, because it's really easy to learn from there. So it will give you access to free things like Azure for Students, which is a lot of free cloud services that you can get. It will also give you free fundamentals exam vouchers from there. It will give you learning paths. It will give you free GitHub stuff, free Visual Studio Code, although Visual Studio Code is free, but it's an easy install from there. And you can learn about different careers and what learning paths you should follow in order to make yourself ready for those things. So it's a great way to set yourself up and accelerate your career. We used to give you exam vouchers through this program, through Student Accelerator. Now, because you can get your fundamentals ones through Student Hub, we won't give you the fundamentals ones unless you are not a student anymore. So maybe you are doing professional year, or maybe you are not in a recognized university or TAFE or school. Maybe you're just doing continuous learning. You can ask us for vouchers then. Only until May, though, because all my vouchers run out in May. You can also ask us for vouchers like associate or expert level if you are ready. And we can give you those only until May or until they run out, because that is all I have. And once they're gone, they're gone. But hopefully at some point, someone will give me some money again and I will buy more vouchers for you. So stick with me and we will continue on our certification journey. But in the meantime, if there is a moment, a hot minute in between me having vouchers and you needing vouchers, I will help you search for where there are other ways to access free vouchers, for example, through our free training schemes. Do you want to also remind you about YouTube? So I have a playlist for Microsoft Student Accelerator on YouTube. You can use that link at the bottom of the screen to find it and subscribe to that list, or subscribe to my channel as a whole, which would say my channel, because I have got multiple playlists for you all here. So we have the Student Accelerator one. I have one that's just technical workshops. I have one that's core workshops, and core is what we're doing today. One that is student chats. So if you're interested in doing a recording with me to do student chat, then reach out, because I could do with making some more recordings. Here's the AI 900 prep list. This prep class is one that I deliver, and every single person that has done the learning path and watched this prep class passes their exam first time. So if you haven't done your AI fundamentals, we're wondering which fundamentals one to start with that one. You will definitely pass it first time if you read the learning path and you watch my little prep class. So like, subscribe, share with all your friends. Okay, is there anything else? Or maybe I have nothing else. Okay, cool. Then we're going to have a little chat with me, Ilasha, and Nicknat. Let me stop sharing. Oh, wait. There was absolutely something there and I missed it about the LinkedIn group and the Facebook group as well, where you can stay up to date with things. But anyway, let's move on. Let's do a little chat. So, Ilasha, you last week were on a panel in Melbourne. So, what was that about? What happened there?
Yeah, so we had a group of students come into the office, which was really nice. Haven't done one of those panels in so long, so definitely take the opportunity to go to the in-person events that we're hosting around Australia and New Zealand as well, Michelle, or is it just Australia?
New Zealand as well, although we have not held a meetup in person in New Zealand yet.
Right.
But I have spoken to one of my teammates in the Wellington office, and he says he would be happy to host events there. So
Okay, that's
we
great.
will be doing some in New Zealand in the future.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, well, the session was really good, had lots of questions from the students post. So definitely my advice to all of you on the call would be to connect with each of us and also anyone else that you meet at Microsoft. And then once you're ready to take that next step of your career, be sure to reach out because I'm sure everyone is very willing to help. But I just wanted to mention one thing on the certifications that Michelle presented. If you weren't aware, most, if not all, Microsoft employees also sit through that process, and we also go through the learning paths and certifications. And in my job, as a technology strategist, I found that those certifications are super helpful. The AI 900 one is getting a big update, I think in May. So I'm studying for that at the moment. But yeah, it's just really exciting. It's I never thought I'd enjoy studying again, but they make it really fun and they make it really practical. So I would highly encourage those certifications, especially if they're free, thanks to Michelle.
The AI 900 learning path already has the OpenAI, ChatGPT,
Awesome.
DALL-E, all of that stuff is already in that learning path. The exam, as you say, is not yet updated with that, with questions around that, but the content is already there. So you can already start knowing about stuff. And I think that particular topic would be super handy to talk about at interviews because everyone's heard of it, but no one really knows very much about it. And the detail that it gives you in that learning path is not so much it would blow your mind, but it would be more than most people know. And you'd be able to talk about it at interviews and look pretty impressive, I think.
That's true. And I also think with all the advancements at the moment, it's so easy to get, I guess, overwhelmed by everything that's out there. And what the learning paths do is it really guides you in a systematic way through what those updates are and what you need to know. So yeah, that's what I found to be super helpful with the other certs that I've done.
Nick Nat, any thoughts on certs? What have you done recently?
Yeah, I think for me, certs is the best way to learn something new, especially someone like me who came from an engineering background and didn't have much knowledge within the cloud space. Personally, right now, I'm planning to sit on the PL 100 exam just because the trend we're seeing is within the education sector is to go on the low code, no code strategy. And I think another thing to add on, aside from the certifications we have available, is the 30 Days of Azure AI that we have for this month. So if you're interested in learning about OpenAI, and and the other data and AI services that we have available, we actually have this 30-day challenge, I would say, to get you up and running on Azure. And with the link that Michelle shared earlier for Azure for Students, that will give you a certain amount of credits on Azure, so you can play around with different Azure services as well.
There's a lot of the AI services that are free as well. I always tell people I built like a few static web apps, which use cognitive services in from Custom Vision, and it cost me like $6 a month for like all of the ones that I have up there, which is a few because I'm lazy and I don't do, as I tell the students to do, delete everything after you have built something. Delete everything, shut it all down so it doesn't cost any money. Yes, you have to create it again next time you want to use it, but the more you create it, the easier it becomes, and you learn how to do stuff more quickly if you have to do it more than once. So definitely delete everything. Don't be like Michelle. Okay, well, maybe the two of you want to introduce yourselves and say where you have come from before you came to Microsoft and how you got there. And then we'll do that as the first question. So, Ilasha, want to go first?
Sure. Okay. Hey everyone, I'm Ilasha. I'm currently an account technology strategist at Microsoft. Basically, what that means is I get to work with 7 businesses in Australia, and some are global as well. And I get to partner with them on what their tech strategy looks like, and any business problems that they want to solve, we work with them using Microsoft technologies to solve them. So it's a really cool role. But how I got here, I'm originally from Sydney. I went to UNSW and I studied information systems. And then I actually applied to the Microsoft Protégé program, which is available to, I think, university, TAFE, and any higher ed organizations. It's basically a case comp or a business competition where you can apply with by yourself, or I think it's up to groups of 1 to 4, and you just solve a business problem using Microsoft technology, and then you get a chance to pitch it back. So it's kind of like a hackathon. I did that in my final year of university. Sorry, my penultimate year of university, and that was really awesome. We went on to win, which is very cool, won some cool prizes. And then from there, I had a chance to speak to the recruiters and all that, and went on to apply for the internship, which is a year-long arrangement with Microsoft. And that was while I was studying in my final year. And then from there, I had a look at all the roles that were available to graduate students, got to test the waters a bit, shadow people, get mentored by people. And then I chose this role that I'm currently in and moved down to Melbourne with Microsoft. And haven't looked back since. I'm loving it. It's 2022, so I'm on maybe my 4th year at Microsoft now. And yeah, it's great. Learning new stuff every day, get to work with awesome people. Can't recommend it more. So that's me. Nick, Matt, over to you.
Thanks, Ilasha. And I personally agree to that testament. I actually came from the Philippines and migrated in Australia back in 2017. So I originally studied civil engineering and moved here to pursue mechanical engineering. So I'm a bit on that unconventional side. So hello, everyone. My name's Nicole Nathley, but you can call me Nick Nat for short. I am a Filipina and now currently living in Australia for the last 5 years. As I mentioned, I came from a civil engineering to a mechatronic engineering background, and I started off my career in an engineering company. So I did my internship in a battery engineering company. Personally, tested out what the environment and culture was like, and then I realized it's not for me. So then I took a step back and thought to myself, well, what are the other companies out there that actually values their employees quite well and will give me a lot of room for growth? So with that in mind, I applied for the Microsoft retail store just to give me some time to really think about what my next, step would be like. within the Microsoft retail store, I got the opportunity to learn a lot about the Surface products that we have. And during that time, we were given the opportunity to tap into the unlimited resources we get as a Microsoft employee, including the ability to sit in Microsoft certifications. So I pursued certifications that were aligned to my role at the time. But eventually, I started to look at things around cloud because, as you all know, when you start hearing buzzwords from your peers, you start like being curious about it. So I heard so much about AWS and Azure, but because I was working for Microsoft, I was like, let's give it a shot. Let's go through the learning path. And when I completed the learning path, I felt like reading the documentation wasn't enough. So I then went on to testing out Azure, and sign up for the free trial that we get. Like, I think you can get a free sign up and get $200 credit. So I tested it out, made the same mistake as Michelle and I forgot to delete my resources. And because it was a free license, it was a free license, right? Essentially, you'll get locked out in a way that you won't be able to see the resources that you spun up because you've reached your budget. But that experience led me to test my knowledge after going through that documentation and hands-on experience. When I got the AZ900 fundamentals, I didn't stop and I just went on doing more and more certifications. And I know it's unconventional because usually people would recommend you to focus on one particular stream, whether that's data and AI, app dev, or infrastructure. But for me, I was a bit of a curious critter. I was always wanting to learn more. So I went through the Azure Data and AI Fundamentals, 2 separate exams. And then I went on learning about security as well. And little did I know that by doing those certifications, when an opportunity came out for the Microsoft graduate program, I applied just randomly. I'm like, you know what? Let's go ahead and do it. And little did I know during my interview process that it was those certifications that helped me land my role. So it became a differentiator for me, even though I was competing with other students that have 2 double degrees coming from much more well-known universities like UNSW and UCID. And that made me feel really good about myself because, and as an international student, it was always a challenge for us to land a role within Australia. Even if we do find something, it was on a limited time frame. So ever since I came to Microsoft, which is about 3 years and 3 months now, I've never looked back as well, like Ilasha. And I found so many good peers, so many good mentors and coaches. And I think that's what's important. As long as you keep your eyes on your goals and you surround yourself with people that have similar goals as yourself, you'll always be able to achieve anything. And that's it. Thanks, Michelle.
Well, that reminds me of a game I used to play when I joined Microsoft, and I suppose I still play it today sometimes, which was called Top 5 Microsofties. And what it was is whenever I met a new person, I would ask them who were their top 5 Microsofties. I did this because I was new and I wanted to, find who are the people I should talk to, who are the people that are really inspiring, who are going to help me progress my career in this massive company. And I would ask people who were their top 5, and they would look at me like, well, what do you mean? And sometimes I would say, well, if it was the end of the world and you had to run into the bomb shelter with 5 people and everyone else was going to die, which are the 5 you would pick? And it was interesting because, people have different reasoning about that. They might pick who are the people they like the most, that they think they can endure being in an enclosed space with. They might be people that they find the most interesting. They might be people that they think will be the most useful, like who's got skills for an apocalypse situation. But they would tell me the 5 people, and they would explain to me why those people were really great, friends or mentors or coaches or leaders or, well, Microsofties. And then I would be able to go to each of those 5 people and introduce myself, and I would ask them the same question as well. And so I expanded my network exponentially with just people who had been identified as cool. Which was very good. So I thought, while we're here, maybe each of you, who is your favorite Microsoftie and why?
I love that question. I actually have an answer, and I don't know if he knows it, but he was the reason why I chose to step into this role, and it's a guy in our education team called Dan Bowen, and you may be familiar with him. He's done a lot of the Big Day In conferences. He's really involved in the education space, and I actually started off my career as an intern in the education team. So yeah, Dan Bowen, if you ever get a chance to meet him. Michelle, I don't know if you were thinking of someone like Bill Gates as an answer,
No,
but
I was thinking of someone exactly
Okay.
like Dan Bowen.
Good, good.
Exactly.
Perfect. There's my answer then. Yeah, he's awesome, and he's still in the same role I am, just in the education team. And you can just tell by talking to him, he loves his job, and he loves what he does. So yeah, if you get a chance to cross paths with him, definitely chat him up.
Yeah, he is absolutely awesome, really legendary. I
Yeah.
assumed back in the day, I assumed he must have some sort of glorious, advocate role. But as you say, he is an account technology strategist in the
That's
education
right.
team, which
Yeah.
is a great role. And I'll have you explain a bit more as to what that role looks like in a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is one of the most common roles, in that there is an account technology strategist for every account. They might not have, an account technology strategist might have multiple accounts, but most accounts will have one that they can go to, unless they're very small accounts, and then they are not as lucky.
That's
But
right.
Nick Nat, who is your favorite Microsoftie? Who's number 1 in the bomb shelter?
Oh, it's so hard to pick. Can I say 3 names though?
Yeah.
I would say the number 1 in my list would probably be my manager, who's left the company now, and his name's Andrew Cobb. So Andrew Cobb has been such an amazing person and has given us so much impact within our team. And I personally think he's by far one of the smartest people, but also the kindest people I've met at Microsoft. So he's quite popular within Microsoft, being here for more than 15 or 16 years. And he was able to capture the heart of every team he's worked with, including, our account technology unit, our customer success unit, and most especially the specialist technical unit. And I say this because he doesn't just specialize in one area. If you ask him a question, he would be able to answer you and expand that knowledge with you in one sitting. One of my most memorable experience with him is during my onboarding, where he came into Sydney and he sat down with me and he asked me this question. So, do you know how cloud computing works? And I nodded my head and I thought I knew it. And so he went back to the whole history behind, this is how we used to do it in the past. Hardware talk, then moving to the software talk. And ever since then, I realized that most of the things that we do now and most of the things that we see as part of the emerging technology came from the basics that we've had in the past. So if you're ever, wanting to learn about cloud and you're already within that computer science degree, or, you've learned things around hardware engineering, it wouldn't be too hard to understand the concepts that we have in cloud computing. And even if you weren't from that background, it's not too hard as well to learn the concepts. One thing another person I would also say would be, and no bias here, would be Michelle. Uh, so Michelle is one of my mentor and coach within Microsoft. And I came to her because I found out that within my role, Michelle is one of the best person to work with because of her evangelism around Azure, but also the work that she's doing within the education sector. So if you haven't met Michelle before or you don't know her personally, I would recommend to drop a message to her. She's just an amazing person. And I've been following her on LinkedIn for about 1.5 years before I've actually had the courage to ping her on Teams and say, "Hi, Michelle. I know this is sudden, but just wanting to ask whether you have some capacity to take in a mentee." So don't ever be shy. That's one thing. And her mentorship and coaching with me has been amazing because it has helped my public speaking skills. And I feel a lot more confident now working with my customers because of it. And then lastly would be my mentor when I was working as a data and AI consultant, and his name's Omar Alcala. So he was one of the first people when I started my grad program to see my strengths and leverage my weaknesses as well, to use it as an opportunity. Uh, if you're a grad, I know you're feeling what I'm feeling constantly, which is the imposter syndrome, and coming into a hands-on keyword environment with your customers, going to their production environment is so daunting. And I've actually had to build up the courage to actually, believe in myself that I was hired because of my skills, not because I was a minority or a woman or, ticking those boxes. So all those three people has helped build up my self-confidence, and they've also helped me be more empathetic across the other people that I work with or live with, because it doesn't really just affect your career, but it also affects your perspective around your personal life as well. So those will be my top 3.
Cool. Okay, well, Ilasha, maybe you can tell us, what does a day in the life of an ATS look like?
Yes. Awesome. So basically the role title doesn't do the role justice, but I guess the account part of account technology strategist means that I work with customers or businesses. The technology part means that I'm working with technology, and the strategist part means that we're problem solving, consulting, partnering with these businesses to solve problems using the aforementioned technology. So in my role, I work across the Microsoft technology stack. So like Nick Nat said, Azure is a big part of that, but beyond that as well, Dynamics, Power Platform, Power BI, even Microsoft Office, Teams, not so much Word and Excel, but that's bundled into all of that. And then things like metaverse, sustainability, generative AI, basically across that, I work with businesses to identify at a high level where we could play a role in solving their problems. And then I work with our awesome team of specialists like Nick Nat to then go in with the customer and see what we can do to fix that problem. So it's quite a generalist role, and it's awesome. You asked what a day in the life looks like. It really is different day to day, but the people we're working with at these businesses are generally IT managers or C-level executives. So it's been awesome as an early in career to be able to hone in on those skills and practice my public speaking, practice speaking to executives. But yeah, all in all, it's an awesome role. I work across Sydney and Melbourne, so there's some travel involved. And I find that outside of university, what I wanted to do was work within a sales role, so work with customers, work with technology, and then work with a team or a group of people that I enjoyed working with. And I think in this role, it ticks a lot of those boxes. So yeah, it's awesome, learning a lot. I still feel quite out of my comfort zone, but every day it's just awesome to take on a new challenge.
That's very cool. The thing most I think about the ATS role is that you're not just technical and you're not just relationship. You get
Yeah.
to do something of everything, you know.
That's right.
And it's quite strategic as well. But yeah, you also have to, because you might have quite a few accounts. You can't go down to the, get into the weeds of everything. You need to be able to liaise with other teams and, bring the might of Microsoft with you, I guess, to make yourself successful in your role. So you're not on your own ever, even though you are leading those conversations.
That's
So yeah,
exactly right. Yeah.
it's a very glorious role, I think. Nick, tell us about what a day in the life of your role is.
So, as a digital and app innovation specialist, we work really closely with a lot of the internal team, but most especially the account team, such as Ilasha, who's working as an account technology strategist. So usually, Ilasha would come with a high level detail of what the customer has asked, whether that may be a problem statement or their use case requirements. And from there, myself and the team behind me, such as a global black belt, which has deep technical expertise, and a cloud solution architect would come into a customer meeting in order to understand in a lower level detail of what the problem statement is and those use case requirements that has been provided for ATS. So usually the day looks a lot with customer meetings, which I spend 80% of my time. 20% of the time would be internal alignment. So that way we're making sure that we're not just delivering activities, but actual business outcomes for our customers. Because the end goal is to help accelerate our customers' project into, help accelerate the projects of our customers. So within Microsoft, we have certain programs, initiatives that would help achieve those goals. And one thing I also look after is ensuring that as our customers adopt new technologies or processes and tooling, we actually provide them the opportunity to learn as we deliver those projects. So upskilling is one thing that we always highlight. And even though you're a student, you're actually having that advantage already in the market, because what we recommend to our customers would actually be to sit on those certifications as well, because it will give them that foundational knowledge that they need in order to ensure that the solution that was built for them, either in-house or through a partner, will actually be something that they can maintain and configure on their own moving forward. So hopefully that gave a little bit of insights to what a day looks like.
That's very cool as well. Does no one have any questions that you are brave enough to ask? Because it seems like it's just me asking my favorite questions to my favorite girls. Anyone? Lisa, don't you have something? Are you there? Are you all there? Anyone there?
Yeah, I'm here, but no, I'm just enjoying listening at the moment. I'm trying to stay quiet and let other people talk this time.
No one else? Any questions about career, life, jobs, how to get into role?
I can tell you one way to get into role. Say that your favorite Microsoft person is Michelle. I was waiting to see which one would say Michelle.
I'm not sure I'm that influential in the hiring decisions. So that may not help, but yeah, probably my coaching helps in other ways, but yeah, my name might not be the key.
No, but you're just a cool person to know.
I hope so. I hope that, yeah, sometimes when I'm, with all of you glorious younger people, it makes me feel like I'm really old. So, it'd be good to remain cool forever. Although as I'm saying that, I realize that cool isn't even what kids are saying these days. What are you two saying? Do you say cool?
Yes,
We
I think
say
that's still
cool, but
right.
we don't say we want to be cool. That's uncool. But we forgive you, Michelle. We forgive you. You're cool.
Oh, okay. Well, yes, we have poor Advaya is saying he's still at work and can't talk at the moment. We appreciate that you are secretly listening to us at work. Excellent. It's educational. This is personal development.
True.
All right, then we will finish with one, like, what is your top tip for the other people on the call? What is your top tip, your top advice for life, or one thing you could go back and tell your younger self? What would it be? Yeah, Ilasha?
Okay. I think at this stage of your career or education, or this stage of your life, the one thing I wish I did more was just to not be embarrassed to reach out to people, especially, like, I know we're using Michelle in a joking way, but actually taking the time to message people and understand their experiences. It just paves the way for what's possible, and it might give you some inspiration on how you can take the next step of your career. And generally, I found that people are really friendly and really happy to help, especially if you're in early in career, because I know that it can be daunting, especially right now. It's something that I'm battling with every day. Like, I keep assessing to myself what I want my next role to be or where I want to be. And it's just really helpful to be able to speak to people who've trotted the same path that you're about to take. So that would be my first big tip. It's just reaching out to people and talking to them and actually taking an interest in how they got to where they are. That's something I'm doing at the moment as well. So I think that doesn't really stop, but I wish I started doing it earlier.
I couldn't agree more with those. I definitely was much shyer earlier in my career. I never used to ask any questions, and I didn't like to ask people for help because I thought it would make me look stupid. And now I realize how stupid I was not to ask people for help and not to ask questions. And I see, Gia asking so many questions in every call, and I just think it makes her look so smart that she's asking the questions.
True.
It doesn't make her look dumb at all.
No.
If I had asked more people for help, I think I would have progressed a lot sooner and a lot faster. And people like it. Those people that you ask for help become your friends, your mentors, your coaches, your colleagues. And when they're thinking of, when their bosses say to them, oh, is there anyone you think should be in that role, in that team, in that opportunity, your name is more likely to come to their mind because, you've been talking to them and they've been helping you, they've been working with you on something, and, they're impressed with how quick you learned it, or like maybe you didn't learn it really quick, but because I think I don't learn things very quick, but nevertheless, the conversation that you have while you are learning stuff makes people realize how much more interesting you are than if you never spoke up at all. You don't look interesting at all, and they don't know anything about you. So yeah, that's a great one. What about you, Nick Nat? Best advice?
I think coming from what Ilasha mentioned, it definitely is to always stay curious, because I think that would help you get to where you need to be faster. So sometimes, like in university, they always taught us that asking for help through your classmate to do homework together is a violation or something. But in the actual workspace, it's actually quite completely different. So when you go in the workplace, they would encourage you to leverage existing IP, whether that may be an existing solution to a problem, or reaching out to other peers that might have come across a similar situation. That would help you just gain their learnings, but also be able to experiment on your own. And lastly, don't lose sight of your North Star. I know that the North Star can sometimes change. So whether you already know what you want to be in the next 5 years, or you're still figuring it out, even just having that initial starting point as a North Star is a good place to be in. And having that North Star will also help you build out your career development plan as well. So that career development plan will give you a good picture of who you are, who you're with, and where you want to be. So anything around your, probably like a gap analysis of your strengths and weaknesses, your gap analysis of your network plan, where you might not have existing peers with similar interests, or mentors or coaches that could provide you some helpful guide or tips on what career path you're taking. Assess those and have that introspective, I don't know if I'm making up a word right now, assessment of yourself. Because if you don't know who you are, you don't know your personal brand, you don't know where you need to be, that will be quite challenging in others being able to help you out in your path. So that's it for me. Thank you, Michelle.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay. Any other questions from anyone before we wrap it up?
Can I ask, when is the next session, a current session for this, like this one, and how do you sign up for that one?
So normally this monthly Connect session is the first Friday of the month, and you should see that in your calendar automatically. If you do not, then you can email the AUS MSA at Microsoft.com and ask them to re-add you to the calendar invites. But normally they are the first Friday of the month at 9 a.m. Western Standard Time. So I think that would be 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The technical ones are more ad hoc, and they come up just when I get technical people who want to teach you to build something, and then they pick the date and time, and I just send those out as random invitations, and you can join it if you are able to at that time. But if you are in work or in school or sleeping or whatever, you don't have to join, because I'll put the recordings on the YouTube channel afterwards. But if you come to them, then just like this, you can ask questions, and it's more personal because, yeah, you can ask questions. Louisa?
Yeah, hi, Michelle. It's so nice to see you again. It's so nice to hear from Nick, Nat, and Ilasha about their experience at Microsoft. Thank you for that. I'm curious if there is any work integrated learning opportunity for cybersecurity and international students at Microsoft.
There is not any formal program ongoing for work integrated learning at Microsoft. There is with many of our partners, I think. I guess your university would know which people have work integrated learning opportunities available. I take students for work experience and stuff like that, less nothing formal, but I don't really know how the work integrated learning works. And as far as I know, we don't have any formal agreement on that.
You didn't hear. Oh, hello, George.
Hi. I can talk a little bit about that if it helps.
Do it.
my advice for work integrated learning is find where you would like to do it. I know this is really hard advice to follow, so, and I'm sorry, Lisa, but find where you would like to go and ask them if they would take you for work integrated learning, and then tell your university where you'd like to go. Otherwise, you'll be just assigned where they can get someone to agree to take work integrated learning, and likely you'll be creating a website somewhere. So like, be really proactive, and if you know that it's coming, start attending like the security meetups. So there's like, I'm not sure which state you're in, but like if you go to meetup.com, there's lots of them, and just start talking to people. Very scary, but that way you'll get a good work integrated learning placement.
Very good advice.
But yeah,
Thank you,
Microsoft
George.
doesn't have it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, George. Okay, then I'm gonna let you all go. But look out for the technical workshops. There will be more coming up, and yeah, look out for the in-person events. We will definitely be putting those in the calendar soon too, as well. When I say soon, I mean within this quarter. So yeah, it might be May or June that you see some of the in-person events, but definitely yeah, definitely some more technical sessions are coming. I've had a few volunteers raise their hands, so I just need to get their session content, and you will see what those are. Otherwise, check out the existing ones on the YouTube, and look forward to seeing you all next month. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Michelle. Thanks, Nick Nat.
Thanks,
Thank
Michelle.
you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
you.
everyone.